my fellow Americans. If you think you know politics, think again. I'm Michael Cohen, and every week on When You Know, we're pulling back the curtain on power, politics, media, and the people making headlines. On my new WABC radio show, you'll hear conversations from names that you know. People like Jerry Falwell Jr., Anthony Scaramucci, Alan Dershowitz, and many, many more. Maybe, just maybe, we'll even hear from the president. No scripts, no spin, just real conversations with people who were in the room where it happened. And trust me, we've got some very big surprises coming. Look, I've spent years at the center of politics, controversy, and power. I know the players, I know the stories, and now I'm bringing you inside. When You Know, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WABC Radio, and When You Know Unleashed, wherever you get your podcasts. Because with me, you never know who's going to show up.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Going back to your story, I mean, this is amazing. People are witnessing this all over the place. Give us an account, as you tell in your book, and describe it. How many witnesses did indeed the FBI, interrogate or take their testimony? I mean, this is an interesting story to tell us.
Yeah, I think the final count was 755.
Wow.
And the FBI, by the way, was totally, they're in over their heads. They're not investigators of aircraft incidents. They shouldn't even been on the job. But on day one, hour one, they were designated to take the job over from the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, who by law is designated to control all and any domestic airplane crashes.
Yes.
Now, they maintain that control by law. I mean, it's not just like a tradition, it's law. Only until it's declared a crime. And this was never declared a crime, the destruction of TW-800. But the FBI just bullied them right out of the way, right immediately, and started interviewing people up and down the coast of Long Island, and in Connecticut, even in New Jersey, people at, ships at sea, a few aviators who saw it, helicopter pilots. And what the FBI would do is they would interview someone and fill out what's called a 302, which is just like a handwritten, document where and then it would be at some point given to a secretary to type up or whatever. So, but they didn't have any GPS. They didn't have any navigation aids. They were really blundering through this, which actually ends up helping the people who wanted this incident to go away. So they interviewed about 755 people. Of those 755, I think the number was 258 who saw a streak of light heading up towards the aircraft. And I think the final NTSB number was 56 who were able to trace that streak of light from the horizon all the way to the aircraft. So many of these witnesses were just excellent. And a lot of them were professionals with serious experience, helicopter pilots, for instance, and, former military people, fishermen, people who were used to knowing what they were seeing. And also people, it's going to sound a little sort of classist maybe, but people who live along the coast of the Hamptons and southern Long Island are used to be taken seriously, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
They can't easily be brushed off. And so they were very persistent. And the one shortcoming of this witness experience is that this took place just before the Internet became commonplace.
You're
At that
absolutely
point,
right.
only about 12% of the people were online. And so the witnesses had no way of knowing.
You report that the New York Times came online, I think, in an internet way back in 1996 or thereabouts, right? You get to continue.
That's right. That's when they first came online, exactly. Right. And so, but the witnesses had no way of knowing there were other witnesses because the New York Times wasn't going to interview them.
Interesting.
First-hand
evidence,
amazing.
Right? But first-hand evidence, right from the cockpit of an aircraft. I'm reading this from your book. No, not reading it verbatim.
Right.
We're talking about David McLean, an East Wind pilot, saw the TW-800 explode right in front of him. I mean, what better evidence could you have that something's amiss there?
That's
Obviously,
right.
we see the explosion. Describe that a little better than what I tried to read there, because when you have that firsthand information, they're seeing it right from sitting in the cockpit, like, oh my God, look at this big airliner. I just saw it explode. Tell us more about that. That's incredible.
Yeah, in McLean's case, and it's been a while since I've reviewed this case, but I think I remember it well. I would say the people who are, I'm going to call them the conspirators, the people who wanted this to go away. What they liked about McLean is that he didn't see the missile approach. What they didn't like about McLean is that he saw the plane fall right out of the sky.
That's amazing.
Now, why this was a problem is because the CIA, which had very discreetly taken control of the investigation from the FBI on day one or day two. Mm-hmm. At the end of the way they closed the investigation was the CIA was commissioned, this is crazy, to create an animation that would somehow explain away what the eyewitnesses saw. And so what they concluded, and Dr. Scott, you could probably speak to this more eloquently than I can. What they concluded was that there was an onboard explosion, center fuel tank, spontaneous, unknown origin. It blew the nose off the plane, and then the noseless plane ascended from that point another 3,500, 4,000 feet,
ridiculous,
confusing people into
ridiculous.
Thinking they saw a missile going up.
Totally ridiculous, but it was spoon-fed to us, and so many people have now, obviously, through your research and your books, investigative journalism, people are starting to wake up. But 30 years later, oh my gosh, I mean, this is still the greatest mystery. And then it goes deep as we get into this interview with our very special guest, Jack Cashill. Your questions and observations at 1-800-848-9222. Maybe some of you even witnessed this or know people who had, or sadly, again, maybe you knew people who actually perished on that particular aircraft. But I think I have it right. Didn't George Stephanopoulos once say, and I don't know if the quote is right, tell the truth, but do it slowly? Is there some truth to what I just said?
I don't know that he said that, but
okay.
That I think
I don't know.
The
That's what I
larger
thought I heard.
strategy here.
Right. That's what I thought I heard. But that's interesting. Yeah. So the main role of the CIA is to deceive. That's the business that they're in. So obviously, truth
right. I mean,
fiction.
they gave out medals at the end of the day, right?
Right.
I can tell you the guy who was the head. He has a picture in the CIA magazine, Randolph Taus. He gets like the President's Medal for doing a good job. And if this had been a foreign adversary, and if it somehow served our national purpose, obviously he gets it. But when you're dealing with the American people, that's not your role. In fact, the CIA should never have been involved. They have no authority at all to meddle in a domestic airplane crash.
You're so right. And if you watch that video, I guess unless they've edited it again, it keeps insisting on what? Center fuel tank, fuel tank, fuel tank. It keeps going on and on and on. But you're so right. I'm not an aviation.
Not see a missile.
Right. I'm not an aviation expert by any means, but I know plenty of pilots that are. But what I find ludicrous from the science of astronomy and space and physics, you don't necessarily see the front section of a 747 deciding to propel itself higher into the air. And I think in your book you describe it even better. Seasoned 747 pilots said, hell no. That front section would just drop like a rock because obviously it defies the laws of physics, which is totally amazing.